make sure I do it right. What's up, you beauties? Welcome to HW Hockey YouTube channel, episode 15, season 8. I'm your host, Batman, joined as always by Batman. If you're catching us live on YouTube, make sure to smash that subscribe button, hit the alert so you never miss a show. For all the podcast listeners out there, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify so you're first in line when the newest episodes drop. And if you couldn't tell by now, yeah, this is our Halloween episode. It's the Wednesday before Halloween, so Jack and I took the opportunity to dress up a little bit here. As you can see, we both somehow landed on Batman.
Ayo.
And we're going to see if we can get through this episode, keeping these things on for you guys. So another topic-packed, action-packed episode. If you're watching on your phone on the new stream there, let us know. Let us know how it's going. If you're watching on regular YouTube or your laptop, your TV, let us know where you're watching. We want to hear from you guys. Okay. So let's get into the show, Jack. We got a ton of topics here. And the Flyers come off a big win last night over their rival, the Pittsburgh Penguins, a shootout win. A lot happened last night. We have Tocchet's comments after the game, Jack, and this is something that we want to maybe work on. We want to maybe get some T-shirts out for this.
Yeah.
Pack mentality, Wolf Pack. I like Tocchet's comments after the game. I like Zegras' reaction after the game there. Did you have time to watch this game last night, Jack?
Yeah, I the large majority of it I watched, especially the end of it. Pretty hot and bothered by a few things, but ultimately they came away with the victory.
Yeah, they did. And it was a big win. And you know what made me laugh is the Penguins have been good for how long? And, you know, things maybe are going to start taking a downward turn here. And, you know, they have a nice start to the season this year. And they lose to the Flyers last night. And, you know, they were embarrassed a little bit. Right? They were all up in arms about Trevor Zegras. You know,
oh, yeah. Penguins up in arms. What a surprise.
Yeah, pushing the helmet off of Noel Acciari. God forbid. You know, meanwhile, he's putting his entire body weight on the guy's neck. Like, give me a break. But it just reminded me how like spoiled Penguins fans are a little bit. And usually I try to stay off of the social media. I've been trying to keep things somewhat professional. But when I see some of these bigger Penguin accounts, you know, crying, you know, Zegras is this, he's that, he's this. And I'm like, you know what, dude? Like, for the past like 10, at least the last decade, like the Flyers have been absolutely shit on by Pittsburgh. We won a game last night, and you guys are gonna cry. So it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, you know.
That's all they know, and it's like you said, they're just spoiled. I've seen Crosby come in as the third man in fights a million times. You brought it up on Twitter, and I totally agree with you. Chris Letang in a playoff game starts a fight with Kimmo Timonen. I'm like, was that his like first fight, Kimmo, and how much older he was?
It might have been his first and only. Yeah,
it was so Bush League, and I remember, was it James Neal? Well, after the whistle, a very young Couturier is just kind of looking back at the play, and he just nails him. I'm like, they are the definition of cheap crybaby, all that stuff. They got their crybaby blue jerseys they wear to show it. And the fact that they would say anything to anybody else, I mean, it's great for the rivalry, don't get me wrong. And they're so butthurt over that matchup. But like they're the last team who should say anything. They've been handed everything, and they get everything usually goes their way. Lord knows the officials tried here and there to keep them in that game and maybe even give them the W. But yeah, so you know what? It just made it even all the more sweet when they came away with the victory.
Yeah, it sure did. Flyers improved to 5-3-1 on the season. I believe that gives them 11 points. I haven't checked where they're at in the standings, at least in the Metro. Let's do that real quick here while we're doing the show about the Flyers. That'd be nice.
Hey, yo.
All right, in the division, the Flyers moved up a spot or two last night. The New York Rangers, Columbus Blue Jackets both have 10 points, so the Flyers jumped each of them, and they currently sit 5th place in the Metro, 1 point behind the Carolina Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals, who have 12 points. Interesting. The Flyers look pretty good so far this year, Jack. They certainly haven't looked like a team that's going to roll over and tank by any means. Like, they may push for a playoff spot, whether we agree with that or not. Like, so something that I had to remember, something that I forgot about, was Tocchet's teams in Arizona, in Vancouver, maybe in Arizona more so. He didn't have a lot of talent down there. He had some young players and whatnot. They always played tough. They always played hard defensively. They always played tough in the hard to play areas. You hear him talking about he wants the team to get more in the center, into the dirty spots in front of goal, into the shooting lanes, things like that. And I remember them being just pains in the asses to play against. That's sort of what the Flyers are looking like through the first 9 games of the season, where they're just a tough team to play against. But the Flyers have a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but they have a little bit of skill on the roster where once these guys start figuring each other out, and we saw some video, I think, throughout camp earlier this season. I think our buddy Travis Ballinghoff put something out earlier today from practice. It looked like Zegras was even working with Konechny. This is going to get a little contagious here. It's going to spread throughout the team. The offensive guys are going to start picking some of this stuff up, right? If Trevor Zegras can rub off, that can only be a good thing. Trevor Zegras, who's got 9 points in 9 games, by the way. I'm a little bit intrigued because if they can take that mentality that Tocchet brought to the Coyotes, that he's bringing to the Flyers here, and kind of figure out how to score some goals, they might be dangerous. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say Flyers can make the playoffs, 6, 7, 8 seed, whatever. But you can see something's brewing here. Something's cooking,
Yeah, and it is contagious. And it's, some of these players are so used to losing for so long, and to get this taste of winning, everybody's really playing at their, at least trying to, effort-wise, at their top end. And you have a player like Zegras, like, you see what he's doing and how well that's fit, and his whole story. And this is kind of like his second chance here, and he's got his buddies here. And the way he talks about the team and how he's getting involved in fights and whatnot, and after the game shenanigans, or at least before the shootout anyway. And it's not really like his MO. It's like, is it because he's a Flyer he's like this? And I think that's part of it. I think he's enjoying being on this team. I think they're really coming together as a group. I think that started to happen when Tortorella was here, and now they're just set up to be super close and tight knit and not have clicks and whatnot. And everybody's working well together. And a lot of the skill that we now have is going to benefit the shooters that we now have. I mean, look at Bobby Brink last night. We're talking about wingers and how we have too many, with Martone coming and Michkov not going anywhere, and Tippett potentially. He was another guy we talked about. He still leads the team in goals with 5. And then you have, if Zegras doesn't stick at center, well, he's going to stick with the Flyers, it looks like. He could be moved to wing. They love Foerster. It's like, how do you trade any of these guys? How do you do anything? Everybody's playing so well. And Bobby Brink had another game last night. Foerster, it's a shame.
Wait a second. You just brought up Bobby Brink, so I have to do this. Bobby Brink has looked really good. So good that could we be seeing a breakout season for Bobby Brink, Jack? Could it be perhaps a Bobby Brink breakout season bonanza?
Skates cut the ice like a wildfire race. Bobby Brink's got that breakout pace. Philly's on fire, the crowd's in a trance. Bobby Brink, breakout bonanza. Lighting the lamp like a bold extravaganza. Bobby Brink, breakout bonanza.
What if we played that every goal this year?
I'm all for it. I hope he didn't blow anybody's eardrums out who thought they're listening to it. A nice, calm podcast. But yes, I love it.
Oh, no.
I absolutely love it.
No, there's going to be no calm tonight. There's a lot to be excited about.
Oh, for sure. And, just to go right down the line, one thing, I don't know, I don't want to like kill all the leads here, but obviously the offense, we've talked about those players, and we're still waiting for players like to connect need to get going again, for obviously Michkov to do it during regulation. And then you talk about the defense, and it's like I can't think of anybody who's stuck out on defense who's really consistently bothered me. You think that would be Zamula. He really hasn't been that bad. Jennings had those guys. Now, even though Juleson, I mean, he's doing kind of what he was supposed to be doing, a little bit of a steady Eddie. And I'm kind of, Sanheim has looked like a top 20 defenseman, at least so far. York's come back from injury and has looked pretty good. And then it's like, dude, Drysdale, I mean, I know the offensive numbers aren't there. This has been going around the Twitter circles and whatnot, but his defensive metrics, the eye test, the metrics, whatever, it all looks good. And he's doing it in like overtime. He's just looking really good back there on defense. We were worried they're without Shaw, and how they're going to respond as a group about that. And any momentum they had going with their game, could they maintain it? And it seems like they've maintained it and taken a step. Yes, it's not a finished product by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely a great look. And then, of course, finally the goaltending. We've talked about Vladar plenty. And outside of the first goal of the game for Ersson last night, that was a hell of a performance from him. It looked great in overtime, looked great in the shootout. I can't even blame the second goal on him. It bounced off of like Seeler and maybe a few other things that goes in. Really just that first goal was so bad, which I thought was going to be a snowball effect for his game. It was quite the opposite. I mean, they got all things rolling right now. They really haven't played too many quote unquote bad teams. And they've come down, to me, they're like, what'd you say the record was? They're like 5-3-1 or something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So they're 6-3, if you ask me, because they beat Carolina. So like, again, they played a lot of good teams, and they have plenty of points to show for it earlier in the season. This is the kind of stuff where you're in the dogfight later, and you're like, man, I really wish I had those early season points. Well, they're grabbing them, and that's what you can ask for. Danny Briere looking like he had for what seemed to be not much of an off season, which we kind of expected. Looking pretty strong right now. The trade for Zegras, you could argue best player on the team right now, at least statistically. And Vladar has been fantastic in net. I don't believe he's let up more than 2 goals in a game, and he's got a hell of a record. And they really have only had 2 stinkers, against Winnipeg and against Ottawa. Other than that, they even in losses, they have looked good. It is really hard to complain about this team right now.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about Jamie Drysdale here, right? Because this was a guy that everyone's worried about, right? And I get it. If I want to be like, okay, I get it. Like, he hasn't produced yet. He's been in the league for 5 years, without going back and thinking, okay, well, this happened. But if I wanted to overreact and say, hey, this is his last chance to, put something together. He's 23 years old. I guess that's old. Look, the kid had his first healthy offseason with the Flyers this past year, right? To me, look, and he's not putting up the numbers, but the way he's playing, the metrics that are out there, the points are going to come. He looks, and this is the opposite of, in my opinion, how somebody like Matvei Michkov looks right now. And I don't know if we're going to get into him again. We'll see. He's not in the topic list, but I have thoughts there. Drysdale looks in control. He looks calm. He looks healthy. Like, when a player's healthy, they look confident. You can see that they're not really thinking out there. They're just reacting because he's confident. He knows he came into the season prepared, right? When a player, I guess on the flip side, and this is not to take digs at Michkov, it's just, kind of popping into my head here. When you're not prepared the way that you should be for a season, you start to second guess yourself on the ice. It's the same thing as if you're going in to take a test. If you know that you studied and you put the work in, you're going into that test and you're gonna pass it. You can't wait to take it. Whereas if you didn't put the work in and you sit down, you get ready to take that test, you're going to be sweating a little bit. You're going to be thinking in there. You're going to be second guessing yourself. It's the same thing. So I think with Drysdale, we're seeing a confident hockey player, and God willing, as long as he could stay healthy here, the points are going to come. And even if it's only 30 points this season, something like that, I don't know, 5 goals, 25 assists, just something to build on for next season. And I haven't checked. And this is only relevant because I saw a stat that said something like he's played in 100 games for the Flyers and he's like a -50. 9 games so far. He's got 3 assists and he's a -1, which I think only happened after the Ottawa or New York game. I can't quite remember which one, but bottom line is he's playing decent hockey, playing a second pair role with Nick Seeler, who seems to be the stabilizer somehow. He helped stabilize, I think, Sanheim a while back. Who was he paired with a few years ago he was really helping out? The name's escaping me now.
Is he no longer with the team? Is it not Sean Walker, is it?
Might have been Sean Walker, yeah.
better let me handle that name, or who knows?
Yeah.
It's Rapunzel Walker.
Yeah, whoever he gets paired with he's just an unselfish guy, man. He allows his partner to play his game. And I think maybe we're starting to see the beginning of a potential, I don't want to say breakout year, but we're going to start to see the real Jamie Drysdale. We haven't really gotten to see that consistently in Philadelphia yet.
Yeah, and for me, it's last year. It's like in the year before that, like the potential was there, but you didn't know truly if he was an NHL defenseman. Could he just be a one-trick pony with the offense? And if you can't get that going, then what do you have? This year, and it's early, they played 9 games. He's at least already shown me that he's an NHL defenseman. He can hold his own. He's already doing that. He's a high-skilled guy, defenseman. And look, he's not trucking anybody, but he's using his stick with those high skills to knock pucks loose and make it difficult for the defenseman to get pucks out, and makes a great first pass. And he's doing everything that's asked of him. Maybe you got to give Reardon a little credit here. We all want to look back to what's his name from last year, but it's so far so good. The offense, if you're playing confidently and you're doing everything else right, you're going to get opportunities. The offense will come. So right now, I was looking at my predictions that we made this year. Everything that I've said just about is looking terrible. I had Konechny and Michkov leading in goals, assists, and points. They're off the slow starts, and that's like the only negatives on the team. And then Drysdale was my player to be disappointed by. And while the offense isn't quite there yet, I think he's only got 3 assists on the season. His defense is there. So it's you're doing what you're supposed to do. It's in the name of the title of who you are. And the team is looking good. So I really can't complain too much. We can kind of take our time with the offense now because everything else is looking, for the most part, pretty solid, pretty good. So it's reminding me a little bit how they started 2 years ago. They were winning games early, but when they barely missed a playoff spot and they had to go on this horrific run to lose all these games. They started off hot. It was kind of like one of those, they'll putter out. They're not that good. They were good early. They stayed good. This team has the signs of something similar. So we'll see. I want to see how they do against teams like the Devils and some of the Western Conference teams like Vegas and Colorado and Dallas. And, there's still a lot of heavier opponents to see. But so far, it's not like they haven't played any slouches. They've looked pretty good. They played the defended champs twice. Obviously, they're banged up. But, they look good against Carolina. Pittsburgh's been good in the early going. They get a win over them. Seattle looked good in the early going. They destroyed them. You really can't complain. Two clunkers out of 9. They got plenty of points to show for it. Certain players are looking good. I mean, Zegras and Couturier have pretty much the same exact stat line. 9 games played, 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points. And then after that, the Brink, Cates, and Foerster, Brink with 3 goals, 4 assists for 7 points, and then Cates and Foerster both with 3 goals, 3 assists. And a Tippett, talk about one-dimensional, 5 goals, 0 assists, 5 points. I mean, right off the bat, a lot of question marks we had coming into this season, and they're at the top half of the stat sheet in the early going. And then what we talked about with the Vladar. There's a lot going right for this team right now.
7 points for Bobby Brink, man. I honestly didn't know his point total, but
and these guys are getting robbed in overtime. It could have been more. Zegras should have had another assist. Foerster should have had another goal. Go back to Carolina game. Brink should have had another goal. I mean, look, it may not be showing in the stats, but they're even better than what we're looking at.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say there was just watching Bobby Brink. He just looks good. He looks like he's on a different level this year, which it's interesting to say the least, because he's a guy that I think flies under the radar when we talk about the Flyers forward group. The Foersters, the Tippetts, Michkovs, Konechny's, Zegras's now. We kind of just forget about Bobby Brink. We're like, yeah, third line guy. But he looks motivated. The same way I was just talking about Drysdale. Bobby Brink looks like that. And so it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep that up. Like, I would have never really thought that Bobby Brink could score 50 plus points in the NHL given his role. But if he keeps playing the way he's playing, I don't see why not. I don't see why a 20 goal, 25 point, 20 goal, 30 assist season is far-fetched for Bobby Brink if he keeps this up. So it'll be interesting to see. He's a guy I'll keep an eye on.
And with that line, just having so much familiarity with each other and a lot of players that we like, it's hard to see him not keeping it up, at least to some degree. And we're going to have a lot of questions to answer later in this year alone about what we're doing with our wingers and maybe patching some other holes on the team. Because, unfortunately, there's no world where they keep them all. Not with Martone coming. Like, it's going to be interesting. Just something to keep an eye on. I know we all are thinking it when these wingers go off, but it's the good news is, at least if we do have to make a trade, these guys will have value.
Yeah. And speaking of winger, Tyson Foerster, Jack, another one. Look, this is a guy who last year I was like, yeah, you know what? I could see a sophomore slump. I could see a regression. And for the most part, we saw that. I know his goal total ended up improving. He had like 5 goals in the last 3 or 4 games at the end of the year, which kind of inflated things a little bit. It looks great. Like, if you don't think about how he played last year, you never really like, oh, he improved.
Right.
Dude, this guy he's shooting the puck from anywhere, like the spots you want him to shoot from. He won that game in overtime last night, right? Like, whatever BS call they ended up calling, but he's just rifling whenever he has the opportunity. And when a guy has that ability, that's what you want. And he's not just shooting to shoot. He can hit the net. He can pick his corner, right? He has probably the biggest shot on the team. Unload it, Tyson. Bombs away, buddy.
I hope he keeps doing it too. I mean, I think about that goal in Ottawa where they scored like 30 seconds in. That was a beaut too. I mean, he just flat out beat the goalie from a pretty decent distance out. I want him to shoot as much as possible. And he's only going to get more confident, and we have more playmakers now to make it happen. Please. So many offensive pieces that are just so intriguing, and they're young, and it's like, man, they can all get going or something, like they figure it out, and they seem to be. They have a hell of a record to start the season, and I like that when I look at the stats, it's all these young guys I'm looking at outside of Michkov, which I did not think I would be saying almost 10 games in, but for what we're looking at, it's definitely can't complain.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't want to spend too much time like ragging on Michkov, because I think for a lot of guys, you could say, yeah, sophomore slump. You could see it coming, or you could guess. But I don't think anybody out there was going to guess that Michkov was going to have a sophomore slump, right? Like, so here's my thing. Because if he really had that Mamba mentality, that big focus, and he's going to probably make me eat my words this week, this would never be happening, right? Like I said, I don't want to rehash anything. Whatever he got into over the summer set him back, because we sit here and say he's mature for his age. He's so mature for his age. Clearly, he's still a kid, because he did kid stuff over the summer. I mean, I never got into an accident and left the scene or went to Dubai, but it happened to him. And so I think we have to remember, still a kid, still human, potential sophomore slump. I'm going to assume he gets hot in spurts, yada, yada. But this could potentially be a frustrating year for Michkov. Yeah, he'll hit 20 goals, but there could have been more, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe he'll finish with 50, a decent point total, but it's like, man, you just expected more. I think that's the kind of season we might see.
Yeah, it's the superstar aspect of it. You want to see, like, year 2 to take that next step up, and it's not the same for everybody. It is what it is. It's a huge culture shock. Where it sounds like we're making excuses, and maybe we are a little bit, but at the end of the day, they are.
Like, he was here last year. He should know. Let's go.
Well, at the end of the day, they're human, and like we've seen, how many times have people been out on certain players, and then they finally break through? Like, you break through when you break through, and I think it was a combination of what you brought with the Dubai incident. I think they had a plan for him to put on more weight, and he probably overdid it, and there was the ankle injury and whatnot. And we did say right around the 10-game point, we were going to be a little bit worried. And I think he's in his own head a little bit. I truly believe that. You see with the decisions he makes on the ice. There's pucks bouncing over his stick when they're trying to cycle, but the skill is still there. He's still scoring his shootouts. Like, he's still showing he's getting some breakaways. He's not scoring, but he's in the frustration could be setting in. And when frustration sets in and you're 20 years old, I could see that being a little bit of an issue. I just hope he can break out of it and get on a roll. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say here is I really don't care too much what is ultimately finishes his numbers with this season. I am confident he is going to get out of it one way or another. Just, I would hope it be sooner rather than later. But I understand the frustration aspect of it from everybody, from the fans, but also the player.
Yeah, I think somebody's even said it in the comments. Like, he's clearly out of sync. His mind is not matching what his body kind of wants to do right now,
And the lazy stick penalties, this is all signs of out of shape. Mm-hmm. Like what you just said, the lazy penalties, so it's not like I don't think we're being lied to. There are a few things we've been hurt in the past by previous regimes. So we're a little gun shy to, we're told something and we don't, it doesn't exactly match what we see, maybe with some of the injuries and whatnot. And so it kind of came out of nowhere. It was like, oh yeah, so we're a little like, is that what's going on here? I'm believing it, at least now. It's to this point, rather, that there's something going on. So we'll see. They should get out of it soon, though. I mean, it can't go on all season.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, let's kind of move off of that. So before we get to, actually, we're in some of our bigger topics now, right? And I want to talk more about Trevor Zegras. I want to talk more about Dan Vladar, Sam Ersson, what Rick Tocchet is doing with the goaltending, the rotation that he's putting out there. Because by all means, I think we all thought that Dan Vladar was going to get the start last night against the Penguins. I also want to get your thoughts, Jack, on the Frozen Frenzy. And Chad, I want to know what you guys thought about last night's Frozen Frenzy as well. Jack, it seems like ESPN has been trying to do something different, which I can appreciate. They're trying to do it seems like they ripped off the idea from Red Zone somewhat, where they're showing every single game in one night, or at least parts of the game, things like that. The Flyers started the night off with the 6 p.m. start against Pittsburgh, which I loved, by the way. Like, it's a shame they can't have more 6 p.m. starts. By the time the game was over, I thought it was like 10 o'clock, and it was only 9. So that was pretty cool. But towards the end of the game, they had the split screen set up. And there, at least to my knowledge, because I think I checked, there was no way to just watch the Flyers game.
Nope.
Right?
Not and that it's I like, know.
What the? I don't give a shit. This is why I'm not a huge fan of the Frozen Frenzy. I don't care what's going on in Dallas or whatever the hell the other game was. I'm trying to watch the game I want to watch. What are your thoughts on Frozen Frenzy?
I mean, the Frozen Frenzy as a concept, I think, is a good thing. It's a fun name. It gets out there, gets the game out there a little bit. I hate it for fantasy. I'm trying to you got to start everybody in one night. And then the next night I have nobody to play. So I hate it for that aspect. But, it's if you can use whatever streaming service you can and watch a majority of the games and be in on everything, it could be fun. It's great. I love watching good hockey. Hockey's the best sport in the world. Like, it's fun to watch. I'm all for that. The split screen thing, however, was the most Bush League thing I've ever seen. This just shows you how stupid and how disrespectful ESPN is towards the NHL. Between their commentators making offhanded remarks, whether it's that numbnuts baseball analyst, whether it's Stephen A. and whatever her name was when they asked somebody from New York, well, which team's more likely to win the championship first from New York? And he goes, the Rangers. They go, oh, it doesn't count. Like, they're just so disrespectful to hockey. And to have a game in overtime and then a shootout and to not know, to leave that game on, you got, what was it, Dallas and I forget who they were playing. They're just like skating around in the neutral zone. Nothing serious is going on. I'm like, we got a shootout going on over here. Division cross-state rivals long hatred between the two teams. They're literally fighting each other at the end of the game, and I got to watch on a split screen. You're the worldwide leader in sports, and you can't figure out how horrible of an idea that was. I mean, just talk about stupid. Like, so they always do something that just irks you to your core. And it's like the integrity of the ESPN is just, and people don't just crap on them for hockey. They do it for all sports. They've had enough of ESPN and some of the stuff they do. And this is just another thing that they're doing to piss you off. It's like, God, here we go again. ESPN looking like a-holes. I just don't know how somebody in charge thought that was a good idea. It feels like they said, this is what we're going to do, set it and forget it. And nobody was like watching, oh, maybe we should keep this up. This is important. They just don't care enough. And that's where the disrespect comes in. And it was so stupid. I hope that never happens again. It was so dumb. Oh, you're on mute again, Jimmy.
I couldn't help but wonder, like, who did they put in charge of putting what games on? Like, what intern was in charge of this? So, yeah, it's kind of rubbed the wrong way. And cool idea, but I just want to watch the game I want to watch, man. I don't need to watch 16 NHL games in one. I'm not going to do it.
Especially if they're going to do it like that. It's bad enough that sometimes we have to chase down. Oh, the Flyers aren't on NBC Sports tonight. They're on Apple TV. Oh, wait, they're over on ESPN Plus. Nope, I was wrong. They're on Prime. Like, it's bad enough we got to do that crap to watch their own home team. And now just throw this into the mix, and then, yeah, it's on, and then you do crap like that. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, it's just, oh, God, it makes my blood boil. It really does. So stupid.
Yeah, if they wanted to do something cool like that, create a channel or a day where you're going to do this and just go to every single power play opportunity, because I don't want to watch, and not that watching hockey is mundane, but I don't want to watch like the Flames and the Stars or like two like random teams that I don't particularly care about, play hockey. But if they're on the power play, and you mentioned fantasy, maybe I'll watch, maybe I'll tune in, So just an idea. Like, I don't want to watch the mundane parts of two teams I don't really care about,
Yeah, hopefully they try to clean it up and show that they give a rat's ass. But when it comes to ESPN and hockey, who knows?
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, let's move on here to something a little bit more positive. And that is the Flyers goaltending position, Jack. So last week, Dan Vladar was kind of the star of the show and made the whole Darth Vladar thumbnail, yada, yada. We thought he was kind of taking over in goal. And, he very well may be. He got that extra start at the time. I think he had like 3 starts to Ersson's 2 or 4 starts to Ersson's 2, something like that, where they were rotating back and forth. And Vladar ended up getting the extra start over Ersson. I believe he played against Ottawa, where the Flyers ended up losing 2-1, and still played extraordinarily well. Didn't get the win, but the Flyers had the opportunity to win, and that's really all you want from your goaltender. Just keep you in the game, so you have a shot to win it. Now, I think most of us expected Sam Ersson to get the start on Sunday against the I think it was Sunday, Saturday. It was a Saturday game, Saturday against the Islanders, and he did. And the Flyers were able to sneak out. Was it a shootout win? Another shootout win?
Yeah, it was a shootout. Yep.
Another shootout win. Look, I think the Flyers were 6-3 in shootouts last year. They might be unbeatable in shootouts this year.
They got a good lineup. I mean, we mentioned Bobby Brink earlier. That move last night. Oh boy,
the triple deke.
Triple deke.
Yeah, so I mean, Sam Ersson, one of the best goaltenders in the league during the shootout, like so good. Even if he doesn't start the game, you might want to consider swapping him in there. And then you got guys like Trevor Zegras, you got Matvei Michkov, Bobby Brink with the hell of a move last night. Like, these guys are almost automatic in the shootouts.
It is wild to me that you could really, I think you have to now. I don't know what order you want to do, but you can go like Brink, Zegras, Michkov for your 3. Like, that's incredible. And then, like, if you go into overtime or whatever, you still have TK, Coots, if you want to throw him out there, Foerster, who's, Tippett, some defensive guys who you have so many options, but your first 3 are looking pretty lethal right now, especially Zegras. Like, his numbers, he's got to get a lot more out there, but he's his numbers, his percentage anyway. I think it's around 60% or something. Like that's wild.
Yeah. So maybe that's a strategy. Hang on to the puck in overtime. Just get it to the shootout. No. Okay. So back to the goalie position here. Tuesday comes, and I think everybody's expecting Dan Vladar to get the start against the hot start Penguins. Surprise. Sam Ersson gets the start. Of course. All the Flyers Twitter goes insane. How is Sam Ersson getting a start? He's not an NHL goalie, yada, yada. All right. Flyers end up getting the win. He gives up a leaky goal. Of course, everyone wants to clobber him, and rightfully so. The Flyers almost lost the game. They're not a team yet that's going to score 4, 5, 6 goals. So 1 or 2 goals against could be the game with this team right now. What I want to focus on, Jack, is Rick Tocchet and how he's deploying the goalies here. Because now I think they're back even in starts. And I'm going to assume maybe that Tocchet saw something that he liked in Ersson on Saturday and wanted to see if he could keep the momentum going against Pittsburgh on Tuesday. What are your thoughts on what we're seeing here?
Well, I kind of thought I was on the same wavelength as Tocchet going into the season. I think most people, in August, I thought as well Ersson would be the starter. But after camp, it was pretty clear that Vladar was the guy, and he went with him. So I was like, yeah, this makes sense. You gotta mix in Ersson when you can. And even when he's looked okay, he still seems to give up like 3, 4, 5 goals. So, and then Vladar has just been, even in losses, has looked good. Like they've really just eked out a win over Vladar. You give 2 goals and it's enough to beat them. So Vladar, but you can't abandon Ersson. So it made sense with his numbers against the Islanders to get in there. It's a little rocky, but he ended up being incredible, especially in overtime. And I guess Tocchet made a decision to roll that over into the Pittsburgh game, which surprised me because I thought for sure that Vladar would start. Unfortunately, it may not matter now, but I don't know if you saw the tweet from Jordan Hall that Ersson tweaked something, Rick Tocchet said. So the goalie's considered day-to-day, so we might be seeing a lot more of Vladar. It doesn't sound too serious, but we'll see over the next few days. So we're definitely going to be getting the Vladar back in, but it was good to see him get some confidence back, Ersson, that is, with two big wins. You beat 2 division opponents, but and the Penguins game was great, and he looked great. And over outside of really maybe 1 or 2 soft goals, obviously the one where he doesn't seal off the pipe is real bad. But other than that, he, just the 10 bell saves he was making in overtime against the Islanders, the shootout win against Pittsburgh. When he does come back, and I hope he doesn't miss too much time, he at least will have confidence on his side as well. So we can have 2 guys going strong. But to me, Vladar is still the guy, and when he's in net, I feel we're as close to an optimal lineup as possible, depending on how else they deploy the team. So, but yeah, I really can't complain. Both guys are looking pretty good right now.
That's unfortunate. So we know that Sam Ersson has had groin issues in the past, and we've seen how these sort of affect him mentally. Now, in that tweet, did they say specifically, I'm going to assume lower body, something like that?
No, Jordan Hall did not. It just said tweak something.
All right. So look, I'm going to assume it's lower body. And I would even go a step ahead and say maybe it's a groin, something like that. I hope it's not, because we've seen in the past, Ersson's had groin issues, and they affect his mental. They affect the way, he can't just concentrate on stopping a puck. He's got to concentrate on, I don't want to get hurt. So hopefully that's not the case. But looking ahead a little bit, Thursday, the Flyers have the Nashville Predators. One of the bottom teams in the league right now. I think, like I said, I don't look at the standings all that much early in the season, but they weren't projected to be a great team. Brady Martin was projected to be their 1 seed to start the year. I know he's been sent back to his CHL team, but it's a team. I think you can put Vladar out there, and Flyers should get the W. Then they have a back-to-back this weekend, and that's where things are probably going to get a little iffy, right? You'd think that Vladar can go on 1-day rest and play at home against Toronto Saturday night. But what happens Sunday? I'm hoping that whatever Ersson's got going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday is enough time to be ready for Sunday. But if you're Kolosov, this is you're the starter down there. You're going to get pulled up for a few games, So, be ready, I guess. So, yeah, that's unfortunate if that's the case. I do want to bring up real quick these guys' stats for the season real quick, because we don't really talk about goalie stats all that much. At least, there hasn't really been anything to talk about.
Just save percentage and get into that 900 mark.
Yeah, so Sam Ersson, after his last 2 games, has his goals against average down to 3.08, and his save percentage is 8.76. So still not all that great.
Working his way back up.
Yeah, hopefully he gets there. Dan Vladar somehow improved his goals against average and save percentage. Where I think last week we were talking about a 9.29 and a 2 point something. He's got the goals against average down to 1.81, Jack. And the save percentage, we were talking about over a 920, 0.932 save percentage through 5 games for Dan Vladar. And look, if you're looking for a sample size, I know we're only 9 games in. Vladar's got 5 games. Ersson's got 4. I don't know what more you need to see there to say Vladar needs to get the bulk of the action, And if the goal is the playoffs, I know they said that the playoffs are not a primary goal, but part of me wonders if that's to take some of the pressure off the players a little bit. Just go out and play. Just go out and improve. All of a sudden, you got this goaltending here. And it's, you go out and score 2-3 goals, you're winning some games. We get to a point in the season where this continues into December, January. All of a sudden, you're looking down the road a little bit and it's like, hey, we're in this thing. We can maybe make some noise with this offense. If it gets going, because they got the talent. Vladar's been on fire. 9.32 save percentage. Should we be looking to add here? I don't know. I'm just saying, 9 games in, but small sample size, 5 games and 4 games for each goalie. The numbers are just black and white. They're night and day. Dan Vladar is the number 1 goalie on the team. I'm just saying, if the playoffs are a goal, you got to start Vladar.
That's where I'm at. That's right. He's still my guy. I trust him more right now. I know Ersson has looked pretty solid, but he's still pretty prone to a softie, if not a eye rolly goal. And then he's also prone to the hits off of 3 guys and goes in somehow. And that's not his own fault. It just seems like he's unlucky like that. Vladar's also a bigger guy, so if something like that happens, it might just hit him by accident and not go in. But he has to this point been the better goalie. That's not even up for debate. And it's every game. There's not he had a bad game here, but this a good game here like Ersson. No, Vladar has every game in the regular season has been good. He may not have won them all, but he has played good in every single game. And to me, that's your starter right there until otherwise.
Yeah. And we do have a comment in the chat from Victor Fowles. Victor, it doesn't matter which team you're a fan of, as long as you're respectful in the chat. We'd love to see you around more often. But Victor is a Rangers fan, and he says, why not go after Georgiev? And if I'm not mistaken, Buffalo's carrying 3 goalies right now, and I'm not sure if Georgiev is one of them. I thought I saw they sent him down, or maybe he's just hanging out as 3rd goalie. I know they got Luukkonen. They got Lyon, who's been getting the bulk of the lion's share of the starts for the Sabres.
See what you did there.
And then I thought there was one more guy. I don't think it's Georgiev.
Yeah, they had it was a guy, I think it was a Florida Panther prospect. His name
Levi's also in the AHL.
Yeah, Levi. That's what I was thinking. Oh, he's in the AHL.
Yeah.
So maybe it was George, but
he stinks.
Georgiev does nothing for me. We're good. Even if Ersson were to get hurt, be out longer term. This could be a little taboo me saying this here, and it's out of necessity. But Kolosov has looked pretty decent with the Phantoms. I think they would probably go that route before they go out and get somebody. Because then what do you do with the guy? When you're going to put him when Ersson comes back, you're going to put him in the AHL. What do you do? It just I don't see them doing anything a goal besides what they have in house.
Yeah, I hope they don't. Okay. All right. So we have Johnny Pelican in the chat here, moving us along. Johnny Pelican comments, the East is very weak, especially the Metro. Flyers have been playing very well. Plus, Tocchet's system has improved the defense massively. The goalies look good too, along with Trevor Zegras. And yeah, we touched on Zegras a little bit, Jack. And before the season, I don't recall specifics for the predictions, but I remember thinking, if everything goes right for Zegras, right, because he should be able to be a magician here with the wingers that the Flyers have. They need a distributor. They have a lot of guys that can fire pucks at the goal. A lot of, goal scorers. I think they have maybe 3 or 4 potential 30-goal scorers right now. You plug a guy like Zegras into this lineup, he can score 70 points. Maybe he puts up 20 goals, 50 assists. I think that's extremely doable. And now he's a point per game as we speak, 2 goals, 7 assists. What do you foresee for Zegras? Can he continue this? And do the Flyers need to sign him now? Are you comfortable with that now?
Maybe not today now, but this season, I'm thinking. I don't know what the numbers would look like. I saw one rumor number. It was like 6 to 7 mil. I'm not sure how many years, but in this new cap era, I would be okay with that. I know it's only a 10-game sample size, really. He is a point per game player at this time. So I have no reason to believe he can't do it. The guy has already had 2 60-point seasons when he was brand new to the NHL. Like we know he's capable of doing it. Can he get those numbers even higher? I don't see why not. He's getting older. He's learning the game more. He's becoming more of a veteran. He seems to love his, I think he's an East Coast kid and he's back on the East Coast. Seems to love the team. His friends are here. There's no reason why he wouldn't give it his all. He has the skill. The players around him offensively are pretty damn good as well. We seem to have a good coach. I don't see why he wouldn't. If there's outside of a knock on wood injury to him, I don't see why he wouldn't continue the pace that he's at. He might fall off a little bit. He also might have some hot streaks, but I feel like he's going to get his apples. He's just that guy. He's always involved. He's had more than shows. They've just been taken away because of offside calls and whatnot. So yeah, I think he can. And if tomorrow they came out and they signed him 8 years, $6.5 million or 7, let's say 7 million. I don't think it's a lot of risk. Don't get me wrong, and a lot of trust, but I can't say I'd be upset with it. I really don't think I would be. Like, with some of the contracts these guys are getting now, these young kids are getting now with a year and a half of proof under their belt. Like, he's got more than a year and a half proof under his belt. And everything we've seen him since he's been here has been fantastic. On the ice, off the ice, comments, locker room. From what I understand, the team loves him. He's just a fun-loving guy, but he's not like a get on your nerves kind of guy. At least not yet. Things are going pretty well. But he does it on the ice too. It's not like he's just a locker room guy. He does it on the ice. They seem to be more fun to be around, and he's got that high-end skill, which we really haven't had since, like, we throw a Michkov, whatnot, but since like Giroux, like we really haven't had that high skill guy. And to go with what we have with the shooters we have and the rest of the team we have, he just seems to really fit right in, and it's showing right from the jump. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I want him signed by the end of the month. Today's October 29th. I need Trevor Zegras signed because that number's only going to go up.
That's true. I can see that happening. He's only on a 1-year deal. It's not like they can wait.
No, they can't. They can't wait. I don't want him getting close to the off season without a contract. I need him signed today because that, like I said, that number's only going to go up. They know that the cap is going up. They know that the Flyers have all this cap space.
All these other teams that are signing young kids for outrageous prices.
He's 24 years old. He's not really. His prime is still ahead of him, and he's playing this well. He fits exactly what the Flyers have in terms of age, the type of player he is. They need to sign him now. They need to be proactive, the same way they were with Owen Tippett. When they saw that spinorama goal, I mean, he was playing well leading up to the contract. But after that spinorama, new contract, Owen Tippett. They need to do the same thing with Trevor Zegras. Get him signed, because if he finishes And I don't know how this season's going to go. If he finishes as a point per game player in his first season with the Flyers, you could be looking north of 7. You could be looking at 8, 9. Like I don't know what numbers are going to be. Flyers have a lot of cap space, but that doesn't necessarily mean it helps them in negotiations. Because if I'm an agent, I'm like, you guys have all this space. My guy was just a point per game player. Who are you saving this for? You know what I mean? If you're not going to give it to him, what are you doing with it? We'll find somebody else.
Well, not only that, you look at how free agency dried up so quickly. It's like, well, you gonna make a trade or something? This is a trade you made, and it seems to be panning out. You might as well give him something.
Yeah, get it done.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, if he were like a true center, I think it'd already be done.
Sooner the better. Yeah,
but you know what? But it doesn't even matter that the position anymore. Like he's good. He's good. He's high skill. That's what he's just fitting in so well. So yeah, I'm all for it.
If I was a betting man, and I'm not, I would bet that we see a contract done in the next couple weeks. Like it seemed like you said, it seems like all the good things are happening. He fits here. He likes it here. He's got a great personality, but he's also a smart kid, which, from the outside, watching him in Anaheim, he just looks like a bro, like he's just out there playing hockey. He's doing what he loves. And yeah, dude. Yeah, bro. Like he just wants to party, yada, yada. He's very smart when he's at least on the ice. Like he's not doing things just off the seat of his pants. Like he knows what he's doing out there. And he's really impressive to watch. Can slow the game down, can speed it up. He's in control when he has the puck. A really, really fun player. Got to get the deal done ASAP. That number's only going to go up, man. So interesting to see how that plays out.
Absolutely.
All right. We are under 10 minutes left in the show here. We have not yet talked about Jett Luchanko being sent back to the OHL with the Guelph Storm. Thoughts on that, Jack? Because if you've been watching, if you've been listening to us, I don't think we weren't fooled by what was happening. You can't go to the Phantoms.
What a shame, too.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like Flyers or OHL, and he's not sticking with the Flyers.
Well, they're not even like really playing him. I know that they want him to see him shoot more, and that's the whole thing. And I don't know what he's supposed to do with 6 minutes a night. And I heard, Grabenkin's doing some stuff with 6 minutes a night. You're right, he is. But he's a different style of player. Like I think Luchanko needs a player with higher end talent. That being said, it's not like Luchanko ever did anything to make the team out of camp last year or this year. They're just trying to get around the situation they're in. And you look at it, and he's practicing. They got their hands on him, which was like their thing. But you look out to Guelph, and they're not, at least not yet. Like they're not as bad as that we thought they were going to be compared to last year. Now they're going to, if they add Jett, they could be a little bit at least middle of the pack. I still would hope for a trade, but like it's not looking as bad as it could be. Ultimately, it's because of rules, but he should be with the Phantoms. That is where he truly impressed the Flyers last year. When he came in early, whatever, he went to the OHL. When he joined the Phantoms, got some games under his feet, he was better than Bump in those playoffs. Sure, he took some penalties, a little too many of them, but he was the one popping out there against Hershey, who's like basically an NHL team, the closest thing to it. And he was looking really strong, really good. I think if they just saw that guy in this camp, that we're having a different conversation here, but he just wasn't. And the best thing to do is to go back there, but he can't. So here we are in this weird flux. So with certain things kind of being ironed out, we got guys we want to play. We're trying to win now. He's not playing, so you want to get him some high-end minutes. You're out of options. So just send him back. It is what it is. It's a shame with the AHL rule, but I don't think you can go anywhere and I don't think he'll learn a ton in Guelph, but I don't think it'll stunt his development. I don't think it'll stunt it. The AHL was the answer, and we can't have that. So we tried to force something that just wasn't happening. So here we are.
Yeah. And kind of we predicted this from the jump. Look, so a couple things. I don't know if anyone said that Luchanko should be on the Flyers this year, I don't know what they're watching. Like, he shouldn't have made the team last year. He should have been sent to Guelph before the Flyer season started last year, right? And I get it. The Flyers want him. They want him traded down there. So maybe this is part of their strategy to keep him up with the Flyers. And there's also benefits to him sticking around with the NHL team. You're practicing with NHL players. You're picking up NHL habits. You're learning, creating relationships. There's endless amounts of benefits to keeping Jett Luchanko up with the Flyers. Look, even if he's playing only 6 minutes a night, right?
Yeah.
Because he's playing 6 minutes in an NHL game. Doesn't matter who his line mates are, right? If it's Garnet Hathaway, Obels, you name it, they're better than anybody that you're going to find in the OHL. So he's picking up pro habits. Now, the thing is, he wasn't going to get consistent playing time. And he wasn't going to get consistent playing time in the role that he's going to be playing when he's ready to play for the Flyers. So send him back, right? Let him pick up the big minutes that they're talking about now, which he could have been getting the big minutes before the season started, which is why, why we're thinking that, they wanted him moved off of Guelph. They wanted something to happen there. They kept him up here as long as they could, kind of thing. They even explored the loophole, sending him to Lehigh, but he would have had to have been in the lineup every night for the Phantoms, and that kind of would have been unfair. So the best way to figure this out was to send him back to Guelph.
Right. And there's some comments here. They seem to be, like Gary here, kind of go, I don't know if he heard what I said or not, but I just disagree. The team was bad last year, and that was our worries going in. I think they're more 500 right now. I would still prefer he get traded, but I don't think it's pretty tough to stunt somebody's growth. It just might be minuscule, which is why we prefer him in the AHL. But outside of a major injury that derails your season, it's hard to stunt somebody's growth. You could always learn little things here and there. I don't think he's going to go there. And unless they start getting demolished every night, which they're already not without Luchanko, something to keep an eye on. But he's got to shoot. Like, I'm seeing, not having finishers. I hate to pick on you, Gary, but they want him to shoot. Like, he needs to shoot. So if he can go there and just take over games, that'll be something. Again, it's not ideal. Phantoms would be ideal because he clearly didn't make the Flyers either year. But I really hope they trade him. But I'd rather him play than not play. And him, when he gets into a game every 3 games and plays 6 minutes with Garnet Hathaway and Gurbenkin or Delorier, what's that going to do for him? He can't go to the AHL. These are our options. Here's where we're at. So it's not ideal, but it is what it is. I don't think it's going to hurt him.
That's what kind of makes me laugh, Jack, when I see people on Twitter you need to work on your shooting. I'm like, what opportunities is he getting to shoot on the fourth line?
It's if they have a defensive zone face-off, that's half his ice time, in the game. You just getting out of the zone. It's tough, and that's what your fourth line's more so used for.
Yeah.
You can only do so much. If the team was a little bit worse, and you can shuffle some things around. If there was an injury, maybe they were thinking there'd be an injury or something. It's I don't see. And he's not playing. He's just learning to be a pro and those things. At some point, he's got to play because you can't just have him ride the pine all year.
I mean, you said it right there, Jack. If Luchanko was good enough, he would be playing for the Flyers right now. Unfortunately, they went out and, in my opinion, they signed a guy to a 1-year deal on a $5 million contract that would be playing the position that Luchanko would be playing, whether that's 3C. I know they moved Dvorak around in the lineup a little bit, but ideally, I think when Luchanko finally makes the Flyers, we want to see him start out in the 3C role and move his way up. Unless he's somehow magically blowing the doors off offensively, which I don't think we'll see that with him once he starts to make the team. I think it's going to be a gradual buildup, somewhat like they did with Couturier. I'm not saying they're the same player, but he's going to learn the defensive responsibilities of the game. We'll see the offense in spurts, and then we'll start to see the consistency as he grows as a player. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and he's a year younger. We knew that going in. And one thing it irks me because it's these guys are nowhere near finished products, obviously. anytime Boyum does anything. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, all right, they're two different players completely. I get it. We both love Boyum too. Like, he was our pick at that pick. You know, it is. And Jett Luchanko was like a tier or two behind, where some people had Boyum in the top 5. I get it. This is where we're at, though. I'm not going to like, oh my God, what an idiot. I can't believe they did that. I'll do that in 5 years from now when we really know what we're looking at. So, yeah, it is what it is. They're kind of clogged up at the NHL level anyway. Yes,
Yeah,
they do need
problem.
center. They do need centers. Don't get me wrong, but the guy clearly isn't ready. You know, and they got other out. They're trying to figure out what's going on with Zegras. You know, you still whether he can be a center or not, and you have your Cates and you have your Couturiers, and the only other spot was on the 4th line, and you're not going to get much opportunity there. And I understand the whole make something happen. And it's like, well, it's not as easy as it sounds unless you're like a superstar type of prospect, and I don't think he's that. You know, so. It just every time I see something about he got sent back and it's, oh, Boyum's doing this. It's like, well, his 505 stats are pretty shitty right now. So, you know, I'll wait. I'm going to wait the appropriate amount of time and then see where we're at, not just jump to conclusions now. So try to avoid that if you can. Just try to avoid that if you can, because it's just stupid.
Twitter adds in there. He's getting destroyed 5-on-5. So there you go.
There we go. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, I think that's going to bring us to the end of the show here. We're just a minute over an hour. Jack, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I just got to do the read, Jim, before I forget.
There we go.
My mask hurts. It's killing my neck. This thing is heavy. This is like you got like the Keaton mask. I got the Affleck one because of all my gizmos and stuff. Look at this. Whoa. Yeah.
Did that help you read over there?
Oh, this is worse, but we're going to try it. Ready when you are, buddy.
Go ahead.
All right, guys, quick timeout, because if you're a diehard Philly fan, you need to hear about this. Fans of Philly is the ultimate way to hit the road with the Birds, the Flyers, the Phillies, or even the Sixers, who are looking pretty hot right now. We're talking full travel packages, your hotel, your transportation, and yes, the tailgates that are basically legendary at this point. All taken care of for you. No stress, no scrambling for tickets, no worrying about where you're staying. You just show up, throw on your jersey, and enjoy the ride with your fellow diehard Philly fans. So whether it's flying out to see the Eagles take over an opponent's arena, cheering on the Flyers in enemy territory, or making it a full weekend getaway for the Phillies and Sixers games, Fans of Philly has you covered. Trust me, this is the closest you'll get to feeling like one of the players themselves as they roll into town, because the takeover is real. So check them out Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and start planning your next Philly sports road trip today. That's Fans of Philly, fansofphilly.com, phfansofphilly.com, where every away game feels like a home game.
Outstanding there, Jack, and good reminder by you to remember to do the read. Okay, that's going to wrap up another edition of HW Hockey. For Jack, I'm Jim. I'm doing the wrong read here, so give me a second.
For Jack, I'm Jim. I'm Jim.
Yeah. All right. Well, the new read's gone. Yeah. All right. So that's going to do it for another episode, boys and girls. Episode 15 of season 8. We'll be back next week talking Flyers hockey. Hopefully, a few wins here. Maybe Sam Ersson gets healthy and gets in a game at the end of the week. I think we said Nashville, Toronto, and Calgary on Sunday. The return of Frostby. I'm sure the stands will be filled.
The return of Vladar. Return of Vladar. Yeah. See who the real better goalie is.
There you go. All right, boys and girls, that's going to be it for the episode. We'll be back next week. Don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide. We'll see you next time on HW Hockey.
Happy Halloween!
Thanks for watching.